FM. And now 103.3 FM. Translator K277CR, Durango, Colorado. Mostly sunny skies on this Thursday, but cooler and breezy. Today's high 53, in Farmington 23 overnight. Sunshine tomorrow with a high of 57 and a low of 26. Warmer on Saturday with a high of 65 and a low of 32. KSJE is proud to support the Jazz Jams, presented by the San Juan Jazz Society. Jazz Jams held every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the Farmington Civic Center. Free live music in downtown Farmington every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. And hear more jazz every weekday afternoon from 1 to 5 p.m. only on 90.9 FM KSJE, Farmington.
On the Media is all about print, broadcast, and the internet.
And civil liberties, we do a lot on that.
The show is about technological utopia and creepy dystopia.
Law and lawbreakers.
Blowhards and liars.
Mainly, though, On the Media is about an hour. Please spend it with us.
Saturday mornings at 7 on KSJE, Farmington. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, which is officially baby-friendly. This evidence-based initiative is designed to support mother-baby bonding and optimal infant feeding practices by upholding the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. San Juan Regional Medical Center, officially baby-friendly, and serving the Four Corners since 1910. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Eight minutes past 8 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, Halloween. October 31st, good morning from KSJE, 90.9 FM in San Juan County over the air, 103.3 FM over the air in the Durango, Colorado area, and everywhere, streaming at KSJE.com. I'm Scott Micklin. It's great to have you along with us this morning, everybody, because coming up this morning, we are talking politics, more of our candidate interviews that have been airing this week. Today, we are talking with all of the candidates running in San Juan College Board of Trustees, District 6. You'll hear from Tracey Taylor, Shane Chance, Aaron Favaloro, and Mary LaRue coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE, so we're glad you're with us. Later on this hour, we'll also be chatting with Jason Calcote from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation. Jason will be here to talk about the economy, the reasons behind the interest rate cut yesterday by the Federal Reserve, and much, much more coming up later on this hour at 8:55. Mick Hess will be in, Roving with the Arts, 1 hour from now, and he'll be playing music from Mongolia on the show today, so we hope you'll stay tuned for that. Don't forget, of course, to connect with us on social media. You can like our Facebook page. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. And, of course, KSJE is now on Instagram, so you can connect with us there as well, which we hope you will do. The weather forecast today, sunny, not quite as cold as yesterday, that's for sure, and the winds shouldn't be quite as strong. Today's high 43 in Farmington, clear and 14 overnight tonight. It'll be 51 tomorrow, 53 by Saturday, and 57 on Sunday, with overnight lows, though, in the teens to the mid-20s. And as we always say, visual radio, like the one at KSJE, can take you places. We'll take you to Vermont this morning, where there's a bit of some low clouds in the hills around the Mad River Valley in Vermont, as the colors are changing there as well. But that's a little bit of a look from a few moments ago in the Mad River Valley in Vermont this morning. We are continuing our coverage for the upcoming school board elections, and joining me now, candidate for San Juan College Board of Trustees from District 6, which is in the Aztec area. Tracey Taylor is here in our visual radio studios this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining me this morning and coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to me a little bit about you. Give us a little bit about your background. You are running for the College Board in District 6. So
Good
who
old
is
Aztec.
Tracey Taylor?
Actually, currently right now, I'm an employee of Aztec Municipal School District. I am the art teacher at Park Avenue Elementary. I teach on the 4th and 5th grade campus, so I see every kid in Aztec. And I've been here about 8 years, so this is my 8th year. And before that, I was in Houston. I came here from Houston, but I was born and raised in New Mexico. I know it doesn't sound like it.
Right.
But I'm a New Mexico kid. I was born and raised in New Mexico, down on the border, and so when I had the opportunity to come home, I have aging parents, so when I had the opportunity to come home, Aztec had an art job open, and I came up and I interviewed, and I fell in love with the place. I've been here 8 years.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And now you want to get into politics.
I was asked to run.
I see.
I was asked by professionals that are in my network of people, and I asked the question that kind of what you're asking me is why me? Why are you asking me? And their answer to me was really flattering, but also when people tell you who you are to them, that's really it's important feedback. But what they said was that any of the board positions that I've currently held, or any leadership positions that I've held, that they felt like my integrity when it came to finances and student voice and advocacy for not only students but schools and teachers and staff and education in general, that it made me the perfect person to run, and they kind of encouraged that. So I thought about it for a little bit, and I thought, well, I think I might. So here I am.
There you are. That's true. So what types of things do you feel like you want to bring to the San Juan College board? Are there some things that you think need some attention, or some things that concern you?
In talking to some of the stakeholders, students, teachers, staff, faculty, one of the things that kept coming up was input from stakeholders. So we definitely want to listen to what the students and the staff have to say. So our platform really runs on advocacy and listening to their input, but also accountability for the decisions that are made by the board. Are we making decisions in the best interests of our students, of not only our traditional students, but our non-traditional students, our faculty, our staff? Are we really making decisions based on the value of San Juan College? And so we're running our platform based on accountability and really just advocacy. So our stakeholders are very important, and we need to allow them to have a voice.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And I know the college means a lot of things to a lot of people.
Yes.
I mean, it means some things to people that listen to this radio station. It means other things to folks who come and take an encore class, folks who exercise at the HHPC, or to see a theater show in the Henderson Performing Arts Center, as well as just the students and teachers and faculty who work here as well. Is that something that can sustain? I mean, is that something that you feel is important that the college try to sustain, of all these different things that it provides to the community?
Absolutely. I know the value of a college from a New Mexico kid's standpoint. I went to New Mexico colleges. I couldn't afford to go out of state. So I know the value of that. I know the value of a professor changing your life. I am who I am because of an adjunct professor at a New Mexico college. I have taken encore classes. I've seen theater programs here at San Juan College. San Juan College is valuable to not only San Juan County, but to the state of New Mexico. And so we absolutely need to listen to our stakeholders to continue to hold that value, but also to expand and grow it. We have a large non-traditional student population here. So non-traditional students, that's affecting careers and job training. And it's so important in San Juan County that we give our people the opportunity to be the best that they can be. So absolutely, we want to continue the value, but also expand as well.
Understood. And so when you're out talking to voters, potential voters, right? What are you hearing from them? Are they telling you about some of the things they would like to see different here at the college, or they think things are going great?
I think it's really interesting. A lot of the people that I talk to are either former professors, former staff, current students, and teachers. and people who, again, see the benefit of San Juan College in all of those like niche areas, theater people, the encore, people. A lot of our high school teachers are teaching in that encore program, and so absolutely, and the support that I have is a lot from the educators and the education background, but also people that I know in those niche groups where they say, T, we want you to have your strong voice on that board, and we've seen you advocate. We've seen you advocate for students and teachers and school districts, even in the legislature at New Mexico, in our New Mexico legislature. So we want that strong voice. We want you to ask questions. We want you to listen. We want you to be our voice. And so that's the support we're seeing right now. So I hope that expands as well.
Right.
And expands into, maybe even people who hadn't thought about it before and hadn't thought about, this vote really matters and really matters to keep San Juan College as a valuable part of San Juan County, even though they haven't maybe partaken of some of those programs or initiatives or even taken a class. So we want it to expand to them as well. We want them to see the value as well, too. So we hope we get their vote, too.
Sure. Now, you're just one board member, and there's a bunch of other ones. Is that something you feel you can collaborate and work with other board members who maybe don't have the same point of view as you do to maybe try to persuade them?
No, I feel like you're questioning me my persuasion skills. Absolutely, there's power in questioning. In the last year, I read a book. It's a education book that is like I don't even know how to describe it, but the title of it is Kids Deserve It. It's written by Adam Welcome and Todd Neslony. And it was very hard-hitting. It was very impactful in that it said, schools, we don't have schools to create opportunities for teachers to have friends. We're there for students. Leave your personal stuff in the car, and every decision that we make should be based on our students and our stakeholders and what is this value. And so in some of that questioning, they may not see it immediately, but I'm willing to ask the question, does this benefit our students directly? Does this benefit our programs? How does this benefit our college? How does it bring value? I'm willing to ask the hard question, and I'm willing to walk around something sculpturally, where I think that's because of my art teacher background, but just in looking at something, let's walk all the way around it. Let's consider all of the perspectives, but let's do what's right based on our stakeholders and what they need.
Sure. And vice versa, too. I mean, I would assume if someone else is on the board and trying to persuade you, are you open to hearing their points of view?
Let's walk around it. Let's walk around it. And I'm not afraid of hard conversation. I'm not afraid of looking at hard numbers. I'm not afraid of looking at something. And I'm also not afraid of maybe creative problem solving, where if the problem is there, we might need to create a solution. And come up with some kind of idea that we hadn't thought about before. We might need to work outside of the box and outside of our traditions, and that historically this is what we've always done. But maybe we create something new, and maybe we go to outside sources for help on that.
Sure. Now, we've seen a decrease in enrollment, a stabilization in enrollment. This semester enrollments are up, so everyone seems very pleased with that growth and things along that line, but there's been good economic times and challenging economic times. Is that, again, something that you feel you can make some hard decisions if the time were to come to have to do that again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to look at economically what's going on in San Juan County. We have definitely some things that are coming in our future that might need us to take a look at some things and have a hard conversation. But again, we want to do what's best for the college, for the students, for the stakeholders, for faculty and staff. We want to do what's best in those times. And I think with anybody, you have to negotiate those things, just like you negotiate your own paycheck at home. You have to negotiate what's coming with anything and be prepared for hard times and lean times, but also be prepared for times where there might be some fat on that.
That's true.
So it's a conversation. And being one person, making a decision is a little different than having a board and working together. There's going to be people on this board that they all have their strengths and their backgrounds. My background and my strength is education, whereas someone else might have a financial background. They might have an economic background. And so I feel like all of the strengths together will come up with something really good, again, that benefits San Juan College and its stakeholders.
Very, very good. Thank you very much. We are out of time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
If folks would like more information about you or ask you a question, can they reach out to you? You have
Absolutely.
a Facebook page, or what's the best way?
We have a Facebook page, Tracey Taylor for San Juan County Board. That's probably the easiest way. Obviously, social media is king today. So yeah, Facebook page, and it has a little click button, and you can send me a message.
Okay, there you go. Very good. Tracey Taylor, running for San Juan College Board of Trustees, District 6 in the Aztec area. My guest here on KSJE. Joining me here in our visual radio studio to talk a little bit about his campaign for the San Juan College Board in District 6, and we're showing the district now on our screen to our viewers who are watching, which is in the Aztec area. Richard Shane Chance is here. Shane Chance, good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Scott. It's going to be a pleasure to talk about San Juan College because it's an icon in our community.
It definitely is, and you've been on the board already, and so you're running for re-election.
Yeah, I've been on the board 15 years now, ever since my daughter was born, and I'm just trying to make sure that we have a good place for her to go to school, and I've served on the board. I think I take it really serious. I think it's a icon for our community. I've been there 15 years, and I've missed like 7 meetings out of 15 years. So out of 184 that we were destined to be at, there's a bunch more that happened as well. But at the same time, it's a good school, and I want to see it continue to grow.
Well, and tell me a little bit about some of your thoughts for the future. What do you think you'll be dealing with in the next 4 years?
Well, in the next 4 years, I think, or 6 years,
6 years
because
is the term, that's right.
That's our term. I think it's really going to come back to economic development and making sure that our students and our people are ready to take on the entrepreneurship role that I think the community is going to have to embrace, as we see a lot of our oil and gas community gets dwindled down, as well as the power plants and those kind of things shrinking the workforce. So I think it's going to become imperative that we get a good system in so people can go out and run their own business and have the capabilities to do that in a positive way. Being an accountant, I see that come through all the time, that people are trying to start new businesses and different things like that, and they could really use some more skills, whether they become the copy repairman or the janitor or whatever it is. The school and the technology to run your own business is there, and we need to help make sure we perpetuate that.
Sure.
Get them a better leg up.
Right. Definitely some challenges coming, economically speaking, I would say. But the college seems to be kind of that go-to place where we can either retrain folks or help with other types of job development or job creation or economic development. That is a job that the college could take in the community or does take.
I think it takes a real good role in it, and I think it's going to get stronger as time goes on because the need is getting greater and greater for that. There's a lot of other things that are coming up that I'd like to see happen as well too. We're really looking at trying to bring on some dorms and some housing for people and our students, because we have so many of them that are coming from within the basin, but yet they're still a ways away. So we've had some students, we hear of them sleeping in their cars and different things like that. So we really are looking forward to get our dorms and different things. It's taken a little while to get that funding in place. We tried many different avenues to do that, but we haven't had the success to get somebody else to buy off into it. So we've shrank down our objectives to give us a good start. We're going to start with roughly 150 beds or so, and at a reasonable rate. And I think it's going to be an amazing thing for the students in our community that come from farther away, and it'll let us offer from farther away places. We'll pick up a lot more southern Colorado, maybe southern Utah, and more off the reservation as well too.
It's not uncommon to have students driving an hour or so to get to class every day, which is what you're talking about.
Right.
And this may alleviate some of that.
Some of that. I think we're more worried about the people that are not driving further than an hour,
Right.
and then they have to spend all day here,
Right.
and then try to get back to their home is a little tough to do. And so
Sure.
we've had lots of interest from the Native American community, trying to get them, and they say we definitely need this, and we're working on trying to do that. They're a very important part of our culture and our population at the San Juan College, and we graduate about a third. A third of our population is Native American and different things. So we really want to find good avenues for them to perpetuate their learning and to help them get out of the situations they're in.
Sure.
It's a little not as positive, it seems like, for them. So
Right.
get it going.
You mentioned your background as an accountant, and I imagine when budget season rolls around, that can be helpful to look at some of the numbers, which haven't always been pretty. When you're coming up with a budget, it seems like the college and the board has adopted some policies to maybe try to weather some ups and downs in the economy going forward.
Yeah, I think that the college, since I've started in different things, we've always kept a good balance on how much money we're spending. We're definitely going to keep us in the black and not go to the red. It comes without, we feel like sometimes we wish we could give more to our faculty and our staff and different things like that, but the budget concerns have really not allowed us to do that. When we used to have an oil and gas revenue that'd come in $9 or $10 million a year, and that's less than $1 million now. And then we're getting the shrinking of the coal dollars that are from the coal things. Everything seems to be shrinking back, so it's becoming much more of a challenge. But I think the people that ran the college board, the trustees and stuff like that, set us up in a good foresight to make sure that we had enough budget that we're going to carry things going. We have usually about a month and a half or 2 months reserve at all times, and we try to keep that as a board policy to make sure we're sound physically, and with our money we do the right things with it.
Sure. This election, you've got some competition. It's a four-way race in District 6. So what sets you apart from the other folks who are running?
Well, I think what sets me apart is that, I'm an Aztec resident. I've been there since 1977. I went to all my high school years there. I came to San Juan College, and I'm the first board member to graduate from San Juan College with a degree. When I was at the college, I was a student ambassador, so the college has always had a good spot in my heart, and I'm always trying to do what's better for the community and for the college. I think it has made me successful, and I think that it will make other people successful if they put forth the effort and want an education. They can get one, because we have a lot of resources to help us out. If money's a little tight and different things, like our foundation is probably one of the strongest in the nation for the size that we're in. We do amazing things with what we've got, and I continue to think that we're going to get better with it. We're not going to regress at all. I think we're making a lot of further steps to bring in more two-year degrees, so people have a easier method to go get a job that's going to be a good wage earning job. And so we're really trying to expand that part, but still at the same time, with the housing and different things, give them a place to come and then get them prepared to go somewhere else. We've talked with different schools. We have some alliances with like UNM, where they're dying to have our students, because they're ready to go to college down there. When we get them down to the four-year institutions, we actually shine really well with our students. And it's all about student success at the end of the day, and making sure that they can go and get an education, and then that way they can be good producing citizens of our community and be able to perpetuate the school and give everybody an opportunity to make a better life for themselves.
You mentioned the student housing, and so I want to pick up on that. Just one thing. Is that something that maybe could be used for other training programs and things like that, to bring in maybe groups of students from elsewhere in the country for a short amount of time to maybe go through some intensive training?
I think
and then
that's
move
our
out?
objective, is just to have some of those rooms reserved so we can bring in 6-week classes or whatever, and people don't have time to get the deposits or all the housing and what have you, and we'll have an avenue so we can bring them in for short terms, have some of those rooms available so we can do these short-term trainings. With our oil and gas stuff, we look to see that that's really going to be an improvement and help everybody in the United States and the world to help them produce their oil and different things like that. The School of Energy, what an awesome school. I was there last night for the grand opening of the
dinosaur exhibit, right?
The dinosaur exhibit.
Right, earlier this
There
week.
was probably at least 1,000 to 1,500 people there in our building. It was just amazing how much desire and need for knowledge that people are getting out of it. They're looking for things to do for their kids and stuff like that. I think San Juan College does an awesome job of trying to bring in the whole family atmosphere and be able to help each of the students get there. But they did a survey not too long ago about the college, and 95% of our students say they would recommend to their friends and family to come to school here. That's huge. That's everybody, all but 5 people out of every 100 that don't find something positive about San Juan College. And I think we're doing an awesome job there, and I think we're going to get things better. Where most of the universities and community colleges are regressing in attendance and different things, like we actually saw an increase in our enrollment this year for the first time in a while. So I'm proud to see that happen. And we continue to compare ourselves with other schools and colleges, community colleges. We just came back from a ACCT conference in San Francisco, where we go to these conferences and we find things that we don't know a lot about, and then we go to them and we're like, oh, we're doing that. So we have really good administration that is going to help us try to keep on that forefront that we need to be at the top of our game.
Very good.
What I really like to see happen.
Well, Richard, Shane Chance, we are out of time, I'm afraid to say, but thank you for coming in.
Appreciate you having me, and I hope everybody gets out there and votes. And if I'm on the winning end of that, that'd be great. I'm going to continue to do the college of good deeds.
All right, there you go. District 6, running for San Juan College Board of Trustees, Richard Shane Chance, my guest here on KSJE. Joining me in our visual radio studio to talk a little bit about his campaign for District 6 on the San Juan College Board of Trustees, Aaron Favaloro is here to join me and talk a little bit about his campaign. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. You are running in District 6, as we said, which is in the Aztec area, correct?
Correct.
For the San Juan College Board. We can show the map to our viewers who are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, but there is the map of the San Juan College districts, and District 6 there is kind of the tan area on the map that we're showing everybody on the screen right now. And so, Mr. Favaloro, talk to me a little bit about why you decided to run for the college board.
Being a college student myself, I feel that the board has lost some of its focus on the students being actually consumers. And I feel like I would like to represent the students on that board. And I think I have a lot to offer, and I feel that the current board has done a great job as far as growing the school and adding new things such as the School of Energy and such. But without the students, the college is really nothing. So that's where I would like to begin.
Very good. And you're a student or have been a student studying what?
I have been a student here. Originally, I was finishing up pre-med, and then I changed, and now I'm currently working on my associates here at San Juan. I've taken this semester off because I'm also working on a bachelor's at Highlands. So
good for you. Congratulations. And so with that perspective, then, you feel that can bring a really different perspective to the Board of Trustees. I don't think we've ever had at least a current or recently former student on the board.
Yes, I think it could, and being a business owner and self-employed almost my entire life, I think I also have a lot more experience, in business to help with the board as well in other issues.
Sure. So talk to us a little bit about your background, if you don't mind. What type of business are you involved with?
I've been a tattoo artist for over 30 years now. I used to own a chain of stores in Tennessee, and then I at one time decided I wanted to go into pharmacy and started on pre-med, and moved here 7 years ago. And since that time, I finished the pre-med and then changed my mind again and decided to go into law enforcement. So I'm currently finishing up my bachelor's in criminal justice and my associates here in human services.
Very good. So it sounds like every time maybe you changed your mind, the college was able to accommodate those
Correct.
career changes that you were
Yes.
thinking about, right?
Yes,
and
correct.
provide you with some of that education. And so representing the students, then, what would be some of the things that you would like to talk with your fellow board members about? Are you concerned about tuition? Are you concerned about classes?
Not so much the tuition, but right now I guess you might call it a crisis, but a lot of people in society today are complaining about their student loans and that they're having to pay these back, and they have a degree but they don't have a job. One of those things, I would like to see our counselors work better with our students in helping them pick a path so that they can get a degree in something that they're going to be able to work on. I don't want our counselors to be so much as, and I don't mean this in a negative connotation, but I don't want them to be salesmen, and just getting the kids, enrolled.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I would like to see that our students have better access to their financial aid. Currently, when I first started college, if you received any financial aid, the college obviously got theirs first for the classes, but the rest of the money was transferred to your account very quickly so that you could purchase books and things. And currently, the colleges hold the financial aid, and it puts a student in a bind so that they're only allowed to, the college will open up a line of credit at their bookstore, which is fine. But there are others, such as myself, that want to find a better deal on a book or something, and that puts the student at a disadvantage unless they have extra cash to pay for that up front. So their financial aid is being held by the college.
I see. And so the student would have to maybe front that money to go elsewhere to buy their books or supplies, and then
Correct.
eventually get reimbursed, and that does happen.
Correct.
Right.
And if the college is for the students, they should do all they can to help the students. And if the students can find some better deals, then we need to see what we can do to work with that.
Sure. Understood. Let me ask you a bit about some of the budget issues that the college has faced recently, and some of the cutbacks and some of the things like this. Enrollment is up this semester, and so that news is positive news, but the college and the board has had some tough decisions to make about funding and things along that line. Do you think the funds are being spent in the right ways here at the college? I mean, the college supports a lot of things.
I think that currently that a lot of the funds are going, in the places they need to be going. I also think that, the more different backgrounds we have and people that can work on that might be able to find different avenues or ideas on how to maximize those funds that we have and get them into the correct places to help the college grow.
Sure.
So.
You mentioned School of Energy. That's a good investment, and that's some places where maybe the college could grow with both energy curriculum, maybe alternative energy or renewable energy, and existing energy jobs.
Absolutely. The college being focused on the jobs in our area is most important. Obviously we'll have some students that want to go to school here that are planning on going abroad, but for our area, this is the community college, and this is where people are going to come. I think the college has done a great job as far as trying to align itself along with Highlands and
UNM, the other one, right? Yeah.
So that our students know that they can come here and be fully prepared to go to one of these other colleges. And so I think that the college, maybe even trying to align itself with some of the other businesses in the area would also help. A lot of our programs here require a practicum, and I know as far as myself, trying to get into a practicum and things like that is kind of difficult because it's kind of left onto the student themselves to go and find something. And if the college could help facilitate that, I think that some of those other degrees might might look a little bit more attractive to the students.
Sure. I'm talking with Aaron Favaloro this morning. He is running for the San Juan College Board of Trustees in District 6, representing the Aztec area. Let me ask you a little bit about some of the other things that the college provides for, some of the arts, the entertainment, this radio station, and things along that line. The college tries to do a lot of things for quality of life in San Juan County. Is that an important part of the college and the budget process?
I believe it is. The college is an essential part of the community here, and so those things are very important. It brings people together. It brings the different cultures together. It helps people to learn more about each other. All of these things are very important.
Very good. And so for people that live in your district, what's your message to them about getting out to vote, first of all, and what you stand for serving on the college board?
Yeah, absolutely. Getting out and voting is the most important thing. If you don't like what I'm offering, be sure to get out there and vote for the candidate of your choice, and make sure that they're looking at the views that you are and the things that are important to you. I say that I'm more of an advocate for the students, but I think for the parents as well that are paying for their children to go to school here. I want to make sure that they get to spend their money wisely. Oftentimes, I feel that the college, on one hand, we treat students and we say, well, you're adults now, and this is this, and this is this, and you get this big loan, and it's all on you. But then the college turns around and says, well, we're going to hold on to this, and we're going to do this and this and this. In other words, taking back that role of adulthood that we're putting on them. And
right.
So I think maybe some better counseling with the finances, and I do know that they have a very small counseling thing that a student must go through before they receive any loans and such. I think we can do more. I think that the students should know more about it and understand it better. As an adult and owning my own business, I know the very first time that I applied for any financial aid through the school, the types of loans and things like that, it was a bit confusing.
Sure, and it can be, I'm sure, if you've never done it before. That's for sure. Well, we are out of time, I'm sorry to say, but if folks would like more information about you or your campaign, can they reach out to you on Facebook or social media?
Yes, you may find me on Facebook. You can just search my name, Aaron Favaloro. Message me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and look forward to hearing from people.
All right, very good. Mr. Favaloro, thank you for coming in and talking with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. That is Aaron Favaloro. Again, he is running for San Juan College Board of Trustees in District 6, representing the Aztec area. My guest here on KSJE. Joining me in our visual radio studio to talk about the upcoming elections for the San Juan College Board of Trustees, Mary LaRue is here, a candidate for the San Juan College Board running in District 6. And Ms. LaRue, thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. District 6, as we've been talking, is in the Aztec area, and as you mentioned to me earlier, it also includes little slivers of some other communities as well, so it's kind of hard to just define it as only Aztec, right?
Right. It has a sliver of Farmington and Bloomfield. It includes all of the Flora Vista and Cedar Hill areas.
Right.
Which probably includes the Knickerbockers as well.
That's probably true. You're right. And so as we show the map to our viewers who are watching us this morning, it's kind of the tan area on the map of San Juan County. You can kind of see it on both sides of the Animas River there between Aztec as it goes up to the Colorado state line and then drops it down into, as you mentioned, a little bit into Bloomfield and a little bit into Farmington.
Right.
In those areas. So talk to us a little bit about your background then. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I moved here in 1970 with my husband and children, and I've lived here ever since. I live in Aztec, and that's where we bought a home and been on the same property. I attended Portales High School, attended Eastern New Mexico University, where I met my husband, Conrad LaRue. I'm now married to Clarence Hunter, who is a retired volunteer fireman He was with the Cedar Hill Fire Department for 25 years.
Wow, good for him, right?
Yes, till he was 76.
Okay.
So,
And why are you running for the college board? What made you decide to run?
well, it has been gradually coming to my attention just how how slack we have become in our educational system and lacking compared to what we were when I graduated from high school. Because at that time, the United States was top in the world for education coming out of high school and the average education of people across the board. And I noticed a lot of neglect or vacant spots in my children's education, that they didn't get what we did. And so I've been looking into what our country used to teach our young people. And I have found that in 1920, the progressives got into our schools and got a foothold, and by 1940 they had really taken them over. And in the process, they took our schools from teaching young people how to think to teaching them how to learn. Now, there's nothing wrong with knowing how to learn, but if you don't know how to think, that affects all of your life. And you just aren't able to analyze things, and you're a lot easier to buy into other people's ideas and concepts. And that's where I think we are, is too many of our young people are not thinking about things to the point they need to, and consequently they're buying into a lot of ideas and concepts that are questionable. And it's my hope that I can be able to be elected and then to get to work with the school board and the college board, and to get additional education into our college that was missed in high school and the earlier grades, especially in history. And the reason history is because I feel like anymore most Americans simply do not know the history of America. They don't know what they need to know about the Constitution and how it functions. And that's why we have this runaway mess in our federal government at the moment, with impeachment hearings going on behind closed doors, because that's not the way America works. That's more like you would expect to hear about coming out of someplace like Russia, the Soviet Union.
Right.
And our young people need to know politically the difference in the political ideologies, and only when they know the difference and know what they teach and what they believe and what they live can they make a good decision for themselves. And also I think they need a broader view of science and understanding. I was a very curious young person, and still am, and I took all of the sciences and a lot of the math and all of the history our school gave us. We had a certain number of activity things that we had to take, like so many years of PE, and then band and choir and teacher's assistant and different things like that figured in for the additional, I forget the title they gave that group of courses. But I ended up having my senior year to work in those extra courses because I had stayed to the speech and drama and the math and sciences and histories.
Right.
So that last year I was truant officer's secretary, and I took arts and crafts, and I found that all the courses that I took in school, I learned things that applied to my life, and most of the college courses that I took also applied in my daily life as well. Now, a few things like piano tuning and repair, I played with it and have never picked it up again. But what I learned in speech and drama, I went on to use in my everyday life with my Cub Scouts, with my children at church, and my youth. And that's the way education should be. And I see a lot of people that they look at me and say, well, where'd you learn that? They have no concept because they didn't take anything of any equivalent.
Right, I understand. And so, with that being said, do you think then that the college can kind of fill some of these gaps? You think maybe that, because it sounds like you think that maybe the schools aren't teaching some of these things, and that leaves it to the college maybe to fill these gaps. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do. And I think among those gaps are, and this would have been even in my day and time in school, is they don't learn how to handle finances. And that's something that they can learn. And it doesn't have to be a full semester course. It can be something that's 8, 10, 12 weeks, 1 hour a day, and set them up for handling their personal finances. If they start a small business, to be able to handle it and do the math that's required. And when I was speaking of the sciences, you know, we need a good foundation in our biology so that we understand more about how the human body works, more about how plant life is, because if we garden or something, we need to understand more of that. It makes it easier for us to identify when a plant is sick and needs help, and be able to go to the right source to get the information we need to correct the situation.
Very true, very true.
And I think we need physics.
Right.
Because I've seen a lot of people that they simply don't know how to use inclined planes and pulleys and the various things that you learn about in physics. And I think all of this is kind of foundational. And, you know, whether it's individual courses that these are taught in or it's a single course in the sciences that gives you this foundational scientific background. And I think testing can be done because there's going to be students coming in that do have that foundation and don't need it.
Sure.
And you think, well, you know, I'm going into welding. What do I need all that for? Well, as a welder, you're going to need to know how to use a lot of things, especially in the physics, to be able to move what you're welding on and to get it in the right position and then to move it to where it's going to be used. And this, it doesn't hurt you to have biology, because you may be working around plants and need to know how to protect them so that you don't cook the little rascals.
There you go. Well, there you are. We're almost out of time for our segment, but I wanted to ask you a bit, too, about funding and things along that line, because the board certainly has to approve budgets and things like that for the college and all the things that the college stands for. And do you have any thoughts about funding and how the college has been spending its money and budgets and things like that? We've seen some years of enrollment stabilization or slight declines. This semester enrollments are up, and the college is very happy about that, of course, and so that certainly helps in a number of areas. But real quick, just an answer about budgets and funding for San Juan College.
I'm not aware of all the ways that the college gets its funding, and I think we should investigate all of those avenues. But I think the most important is that we take the funds we have and use them to the best possible use and live within budgets so that we don't end up needing more money than we have.
Well, that's good advice. That's certainly how people do it at home, so it makes sense to do it here.
Right.
There you go. Mary LaRue, if people want more information about you or your campaign, can they reach out to you and contact you, and how can folks do that?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. I'm on The Patriots. If you're looking for me on Facebook, you look for me by Mary Everett with an E on the end, LaRue. And
they can message you through that Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you're one of the Patriots, You already know who I am.
I bet they do. So there you are. Thank you for sitting down with me and talking about your campaign. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. It was great to see you again and to get to visit with you.
Good to see you, too. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank
That
you.
is Mary LaRue. She is running for the San Juan College Board of Trustees in District 6.
reservationtaskforce.com/event. A Moment in Time with Dan Roberts is produced at the University of Richmond with the cooperation of WCVE Public Radio. Our theme music is composed by BJ Liederman. Our sound engineer is Rob Richards. Transcripts, podcasts, audio, and video are available at amomentintime.com.
The material discussed in this program is for information purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a recommendation for investing or as legal advice. Each person has his or her specific situation, circumstance, and objective, and should consult their own personal advisor or counsel. Wednesday morning here on KSJE, and it's time to check in with Jason Kelcoat from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation, who's here to talk about the economy on this Halloween. Jason, good morning.
Good morning. Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Same to you. And so nothing too spooky going on in the markets today?
Nope. It pretty much shook down exactly how everybody was thinking it was going to.
Right.
The Fed met yesterday.
Right.
And they came out saying that they were going to cut interest rates for a third time this year.
Okay, right. And not really surprising to anyone, right? They kind of said that they were probably going to do that.
That's exactly right. It's been priced into the market. Everybody was expecting it. So they cut the rates down to a range of 1.5% to 1.75%.
Okay.
And again, this rate is what banks charge each other, essentially, for overnight lending.
Right.
But it also is tied to most forms of revolving consumer debt. So
I would think we'd see impacts on even mortgage rates at some point, right? And credit card rates and things like that?
Yep. Definitely the credit card rates. The mortgage rates are a little slower to adjust.
Right.
Just because there's a lot of strong stuff going on in the economy as well. So they've actually been a little slower to react to these interest rate hikes than most people were probably hoping for.
I see. Okay.
Because this is usually a good environment to do something like a refi.
Right. I still hear they're very low.
They are. They are.
I mean, even compared to last year at this time. So
That's exactly right. They have lowered down. So yeah, if you're looking to do that, that's a good time. The Fed chair came out, Jerome Powell, and he's really characterized these rate cuts as a mid-cycle adjustment. So the comments from the Fed this time around have kind of indicated that they're done right now for the rate hikes.
Okay.
They've sort of changed the language.
the rate cuts.
The rate cuts. I'm sorry,
Yes,
but I keep saying hikes.
That's
Jeez.
okay.
Yes, the rate cuts. So they are done with that.
Right.
They reinforced this idea by removing a clause that's appeared since June that says that the Fed is committed to act as appropriate to sustain the expansion. This isn't quite the case anymore. Now they've come out and said that their stance on monetary policy is likely to remain appropriate. So I think they're going to sit back and wait for a while now, just because everything's been going pretty smoothly. They made comments about data dependence instead of kind of reacting to the geopolitical scene. Now they're going to really look at the hard data from the U.S. economy and react to that instead.
Okay.
And as far as that goes, we've got GDP growth that came out. It's at 1.9%. The Wall Street estimates were about 1.6%. So GDP is doing well. Unemployment's still at this 50-year low of 3.5%. So nothing for the Fed to try to counteract there.
Right. Right.
And then
inflation still looks pretty good, I think, right?
Yep.
Isn't that
Inflation's
another one?
actually below their target. Their target's around 2%, and it crept up to there, and then it kind of backed off again.
Okay.
And then the stock market's around record highs right now.
Right.
So
That's true. I mean, all the markets are doing pretty well year over year, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
As we take a look, everybody, and we can show you a little bit about what the Dow Jones is doing. As far as first thing this morning, right? They are in the green and above where they were last October 31st.
That's
as
exactly
we're showing
right.
you.
Yep. Starting off a little down today, and we can talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Kind of some
Stuff.
international stuff.
Right. Okay. Other one, S&P, same story, pretty much, right? We see that little big dip in December.
Yep, that's it.
last year, and then Nasdaq kind of same thing, but still way up over last year, which looks to be about maybe 7,300, 7,400.
Yep. And then Nasdaq has really bounced back. That's one that's had some major gains this year. But again, we saw that the Dow and the S&P kind of started off in the red today. And that's really global uncertainty, global weakness. China, Brexit, was delayed again. We were supposed to have a meeting about the tariffs, and that's gotten pushed back, canceled.
Okay.
So really, European stocks slipped overnight. The U.S. equities futures kind of slipped because China came out and said that they don't see a very good possibility of a long-term trade deal with the current administration in the U.S.
Okay.
Very concerned about kind of making ends meet there. And then the economic data from Hong Kong as well. It's come out. They had those protests for almost 5 months.
Right.
And it sent them into a recession numbers.
Yikes.
So yeah, really global uncertainty is still looming out there. But from the Fed comments and from the economic data, the U.S. numbers are doing pretty well.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. And I know we haven't talked about Brexit in a while, but the deadline was supposed to be today.
Right.
Then everybody kicked the can down the road, and now they've got another, 3-month extension, 2-month extension?
So, I believe end of January.
Yeah, so that's still, who knows, right?
That's still looming, yeah,
Okay.
and affecting that whole Eurozone, just
Right.
uncertainty in that area.
And the United Kingdom and everybody else, because they're no slouch in the economic world either,
Definitely
right?
not, nope.
So,
Yep.
interesting. All right, well, thanks, Jason. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Jason Calcutt, everyone, from Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation. He is with me on Thursdays to talk about the economy right here on KSJE Farmington.